Hello everyone, my name is Laura Hsu. I'm from Taiwan. I've been a professional facilitator for 20 years, and today I'd like to share with you my learning and insight from the visual practitioner workshop. In the past 20 years, in the field of International Association of Facilitators, we are aware of the visual recorder and the facilitator and their role. However, it's usually known in the past as a good to have role, that we have something beautiful, nice looking report that we can produce. Yet when inquire deeper into the role, for some facilitators they will say, oh, maybe the graphic recorder, they could be disruptive to the group process, as they might be shifting the focus for the group to look elsewhere. And there is another group of people saying that, no, I think they really add value. And the debates around the value is good to have or must have. So I've heard this all the time, and as my friend Ripley and Jace from Taiwan, who are quite established visual practitioners, share with me how they use their visual practice to enhance large-scale system change, and how they were able to help enable people to move into action. I was quite impressed. For example, there are some big, large system change projects. They could have large conferences or workshops where they have experts and they have interactive sessions and great discussions. Nevertheless, if they don't transform the discussion into useful information that can be received from the stakeholders, then the effort might just stop at a very good conference. So they have paid a lot of attention as visual practitioners before the event and during the event and after the event, and to produce a form of communication that the group can understand one another during the session, through deep listening, and to connect to the deeper meaning of why we're doing this, why is this meaningful, and comes out of a wonderful artistic representation of the consensus reached, of the breakthrough, the insights that comes from different stream of thoughts. And that that's beyond just beauty. That has another layer of meaning that give information to the larger system change process to enable the momentum. And for example, they show me this documentation from this big conference they just finished in Denmark, and they were able to compile everything into almost like a design magazine format of different visual pieces, and presented in a very attractive forms to be sent to different stakeholders for the input for their follow-up action steps. So I thought that's something fantastic. If we just end the conference with a pile of paper with writing, and maybe they just be put on the shelf and no one ever will read about it. But when the information and insight is intentionally being kept in a way that that gives energy into the system to push the change, then the role is really critical. So I think the key difference is whether the practitioner can be able to tune into the field of the group and be able to listen deeply into the meaning and connect there, instead of just thinking about how we produce a nice looking picture, which looks good but it does not resonate with people. So I think over the past 3 days when we were in the workshop, there's nothing about drawing techniques, to my amaze, because I never consider myself as a professional artist, and I never strive to be. Probably I do some doodle every now and then for my personal pleasure. But over the 3 days, Kelby, Alfredo, Ripley, and Jace are helping us to really tune into the field of the group dynamic and really be able to engage and to see what is happening. So we are not overly detached and not overly attached, so that we can maintain awareness while we can deeper into our knowing about what really matters, the why, and the what needs to be expressed, and then off it come out of our hand, the message from this kind of center and groundedness goes to the wall. And it's interesting that if we look around the practitioners, we can see, if you see technically, there is always something technical people can improve, but that's not the point. The point is there's so much to appreciate regarding to the perspective of their take in the same dialogue that we were listening into. Different manifestation, different ways of describing the depicting, really adds layers into the dialogue itself. So I was quite amazed by the final work that I was able to produce, and I was quite happy that even Jace would want to keep it. Yeah, but so I was quite honored. That in itself gave me a lot of new idea about maybe in the field of organizational development, the practitioners can use another way to collaborate with visual practitioners to really think through your organizational development projects, and to think through how are we going to work together in a way that we can create a container with the least interference, as always, and to really help the group to explore as deep as they can. So that, I would think, would be the message I would like to give to the OD practitioner community, is to really find your partner, your visual practitioner partner, to work on a project together. And I understand it could be challenging to how to talk to the client and to express the value add of this layer of support, and so I think to help you make the first step, maybe you should sign up for this 3-day yourself. I myself gained a lot. Even after 20 years of practice, I learned a lot through these 3 days, especially how to work more from the being, because in the past we know that we can do meditation, a lot of self-reflective work, journaling, different ways to work on the use of self, the